Gundam Gquuuuux is way too complicated. It just tried to do way too much in 12 episodes. Hey thinkers, you read the title. Today I'm explaining why I think Gundam Gquuuuux is a mess and how I think it could be improved. This will of course be from the lens of a new Gundam watcher, because this is actually the first Gundam series I've ever watched. Alright, let's get into the pros first, and why I don't think the show is terrible. The main thing I liked about it is the fights. The mech suits battling in space were some of the best moments of the show. While at first I didn't like the 3D animation for the mechs, it grew on me. Similar to how Vox Machina's dragons grew on me. I especially liked all the fights that happened at the end of the series. All of them were amazing. That's about where my praise ends, especially when it comes to the ending. Now, one of the biggest problems are the characters. Not only was the show only 12 episodes long, so I didn't have much time to get attached to the characters, but most of the characters weren't very interesting, or I just didn't like them. A good example of this is Neon and Machu. They both turn into absolute jerks, killing people and fighting in battles for a boy who doesn't even like them. There were only 3 characters I really liked: the Red Comet, Shaliabol, and Shuji. 2 of them aren't even new characters, and the only reason I like Shuji is because me and a friend I watched the show with made jokes about how he's based, because he didn't want to be part of some toxic love triangle. Another problem I have with the show is that I have no idea who any of these countries and factions are or what they want. I had to have my friend explain it to me, and even then I barely understood what was going on. It's like they just assumed that I had already seen all the other shows. And then the ending came around. You know, if I had a nickel for every time I watched a mech show with a horribly confusing ending, I'd have 2 nickels. Now, to give the show credit where it's due, it isn't as bad as Evangelion's ending when you just watch the series. But if we add on the movie, then they're much more equal. But I'm getting sidetracked. Gquuuuuux tries to set up and conclude way too much in just 3 episodes. We are introduced to a lady who can see into the future, and the Rose of Sharon is her, and Shuji's from another universe and has killed her thousands of times, and everyone wants something different. It's just so confusing and complicated. If they had just spent like 3 more episodes fleshing this all out somehow, the ending would make way more sense. The final problem I have with this show is nostalgia bait. The show just expects that you understand what's going on because, of course, you've seen the show before. For example, the prostitute lady, yes, I forgot her name, wants to go to space because she thinks she will be free there. And I just thought that was a cool parallel to Machu, wanting to go to Earth to be free. But no, she was actually saved and taken to space by the Red Comet and all this stuff, and it just makes no sense to someone new. Gquuuuuux was just way too complicated for the time it had. I'm sure that at least some of the problems I have with this show is just because this is my first Gundam show, but these are problems I have nonetheless. I just wish they had spent more time on it. Even just a 3-episode increase would make the show exponentially better. Same thing if they decided to add a season 2 explaining things. But what were your thoughts? Be sure to type them in the comments down below and give me any video ideas you have. Also, make sure to like and subscribe. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.